Go for Green Part 2. The purpose of the Go for Green constructive learning method is to help students strategically use their thinking skills to transform course content and course topics into the more valuable course learning outcomes. This transferable skill ensures that the interactions students have during studying will match those needed for the test and tasks. This method completely eliminates those pesky false confirmations. You know those, "I thought I studied well until I got to the test" moments that plague so many students. Consider the structure of a college course. Typically, professors outline some of the more important topics that would be covered throughout the duration of a course. Here you see an example of how these course topics may appear on a syllabus. You have the class date with the corresponding topics that are scheduled for each class session. Students typically notice this information. More astute students may use this information to begin planning and setting goals, such as, "I need to start studying on January 24th for the February 3rd test." While this information is helpful in that it provides students structure for some of the key topics, it's also misleading because students will not be tested on this specific information. Students don't know how to respond when they encounter questions or problems on tests that are different from the information that was presented during class. When students are unable to solve the problems or produce the correct response, they presume that they must have captured the wrong information or that the classroom content was somehow irrelevant. But they are sorely wrong. This information is very relevant. The students simply don't know that their job is to transform the expedient information that was presented in class into the more consequential knowledge products that their professors will be judging. For example, this topical information may be included on a chemistry syllabus. However, the professor may cover this type of information in various ways throughout the course. This material may be covered explicitly through lectures in a seated or an online course, or it could be presented in a textbook, or even included in a verbal tangent that the professor takes the class on. When we combine the topical information that is written out in the syllabus with the course content that is explicitly covered throughout the course, we see two different shades of blue. The point is that the topics and content about the topics are quite different from each other. And yet, there are two additional course components that students must factor in the Go for Green constructive learning method. These final components will be covered in Part 3. But let's recap before we move ahead. Number 1, students unnecessarily struggle in courses because they don't know how to construct their learning. Number 2, students misdiagnose their problems by wrongly confusing information extraction. And number 3, even when students capture the correct information, the topic and the content, this is only the blue coloring of the Go for Green method. Next, we introduce the most critical component of constructive learning. It's the yellow in our color equation.